DFW is growing by thousands every single month.
Texas is leading the nation in population growth.
Cities with a booming population.
Yes, North Texas is booming.
The region experienced the largest population growth. Over 8.1 million people now call Dallas-Fort Worth home.
And if you're thinking about moving here, you need to know the costly mistakes that others have experienced to avoid crushing your Texas dream. Being as someone that's moved across continents and even states and a crazy real estate market, from the experience I've heard from other buyers and sellers, here's going to be the insider playbook I can give you being a relocation specialist. So let's just talk about mistakes that have come up in front of people before. And I see it time and time again. Now, a lot of the times I'm helping sellers try to get out of this mistake, right? And I learn from them in regards to their stories. So here's an overview of it. So someone might have overspent on a property, but is looking to sell the property within less than 2 years. Maybe they're getting relocated with work or something in life happened, and they're trying to sell it in less than 2 years. They've not had enough time for the property to appreciate, to manage the cost of selling. Another issue would be increased traffic experience around the area. So maybe when you were first here, the drive to get to the property was okay, but then 6, 12, 18, 24 months moving forward, the traffic just exploded because everyone was moving to where you're going to. Crazy. Not feeling a connection with the community. You know, I don't really get to meet my neighbors as much. I don't feel connected with my neighbors. We just stay in our house. I'm isolated in my house. Heard that one time and time again. Feeling too distant from work and from home. I gotta say work and from home. I'm too far away from work, my drive time's too far, and then when I finished work, I'm too far away from home to really have that great life experience. Definitely hearing that more and more, especially as people have gone from being remote workers, maybe called back to the office. Being too distant from lifestyle preferences, being too far away from restaurants they like or sporting activities they want to be part of. That has been something that's come up as well. And those things are simple ones to avoid. The high cost of living. So you've gone and bought the house, you've got into the house. Now keeping the house and all the expenses that come with it are beyond what I can afford. You know, I wasn't really thinking these expenses were coming. Now this could be with HOA costs, it could be with your property taxes, it could be with your mortgage costs, it could be with utilities, all these other things that are coming through. Home insurance has gone up. And now with the insurance rates, how does that all mix in with your monthly payment? Maybe you bought the wrong house. Yes, I said bought the wrong house. I'm not saying you were trying to buy 41 Smith Street and I ended up with 45 Smith Street. I'm saying you bought the wrong house and that you weren't thinking about what you really needed. You bought something just for its availability and so forth, and really you needed something completely different. That side of buying the wrong house. I see that time and time again. Maybe you bought something that was too big and you didn't need that house, but you wanted something simply for the location. Buying in the wrong area, considering lifestyle choices. You know, some people might buy into a school area where the property taxes for the schools are super high, but you're not really using those schools. You want something more that was closer to entertainment and a social side where schools aren't really that important in your life. You know, considering the lifestyle choices of where you are now, where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, making sure you're not buying in an area where you're spending money on things that you really don't need in your life. I've got people that have bought in areas where they're paying into 2 different tax districts. Some are spending money in Collin County taxes as well as Denton County taxes, depending on what neighborhood they're in. And it's just been an absolute headache for them on managing their tax payments. And lastly, the community vibe. You know, some people feel disconnected from their community, whether it's through lack of community events or the architectural style of the area, trees, how many trees are in the area, what's the access to nature? Does it feel more like a concrete jungle? Is it too dense? They're not considering these aspects because they've been focused much more on locality to something and the type of house. So that's a run through of various different mistakes and problems that people have shared with me in their move to DFW. Now here are gonna be 5 tips on how to best avoid those types of problems in your Texas experience. Number 1, have a detailed buyer consultation with a local real estate professional. Now, new construction is prevalent in the DFW areas, especially the growth areas around Rockwall, Salina, McKinney, Aledo, Fort Worth, Denton. And it's really easy to go to a builder directly and deal just with the builder. But are you considering everything when doing that? Are you considering the community you're buying into? Are you having these conversations of what's it going to be like now, or 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What type of house do you need now versus in that same timeline? A builder likely is not going to have that much thought or conversation with you about these items. They're going to present different floor plans they have available, and it's going to be, hey, select one, this is what the lot's going to be. They're not going to be talking to you much about what kind of community you're in or what community events they're going to be for the greater community. You might think about the neighborhood, but what about your community as a whole? So having a detailed conversation with a real estate professional, you're going to go into far more conversations about not just what you want, but more importantly, why you want those things. And it's the success sits in why you want those, for us to have the understanding of what you're really looking for, the impact, not just how you live, but where you live. 2, consider the development for the area. Now, if you buy in, for example, Salina, north of the area, now there's not too many amenities in the area right now if you were comparing to, let's say, Plano or Dallas or McKinney. But they are all coming that way. The Dallas North Tollway is climbing up towards Salina. There's a new golf course being built. There's a rodeo that's going to be built. There's grocery stores coming in. There's more residents coming in. That's going to lead to more restaurants. It's going to lead to more traffic. It's going to lead to more, density. The landscape's going to be completely different. It used to be just fields. I always hear about people taking a long trek out to the boonies of Salina. And now it's going to be this bustling town, city, and it's going to be a completely different landscape. Now, if you were moving to an area where you want acreage and space, that has it now, but 10 years from now, it's going to look completely different. Those are the types of conversations you want to make sure you're having when considering where to relocate to in DFW, because Salina is going to have the same situation going on maybe in McKinney or Van Alstyne, Anna, Northlake, Justin, Denton, Aledo. All of these places have very similar conversations you're going to want to have before buying into a community. Number 3, be mindful of seasonal shopping. One thing I do for my sellers, for example, I look at month to month what the average sale price to listing price percentages are to really give me a better idea of, is there the best months to hit for the best sale for my seller? If you're a buyer, you should be doing exactly the same thing. Now, we're all sitting here going, obviously spring markets are the best markets in real estate. Well, if you're a buyer, are you buying during those months? You might simply go, well, the best options are available during that time. Yeah, perhaps, but there are also more buyers. Are you going to have to overspend for that property because everyone's under the same thought process? But let's look at the data trends. How many properties are being sold per month that match up with what you're looking for in the area you're interested in? Are there certain months where you generally get a better sale price for it? Can you strategically plan around the year, if you have the flexibility and time, to make the more sound purchase and not overspend? Because if you overspend, it's not going to be as easy to get out if you have a life change in 1, 2, 3, 4 years from now. Number 4, really consider your ownership time frame. If you think you're just going to move to DFW for 2 or 3 years, Really look at what the cost to buy is going to be versus the cost of renting, for example. Does the cost of buying and with appreciation make sense? Or are you going to end up losing money by doing that? Is the property going to appreciate during that time of your ownership where you can really absorb the cost of selling or the expenses that might come with it, the repairs, the upgrades, and how much of your investment is going to go into this property? So think about, are you going to be there for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Is this your end house as such? And then, make your plans around that. That's a great strategic consideration to make. I just had the conversation with a lady who's buying in Dallas, and we very much compared what the cost of renting was going to be versus buying. And if we're going to do the buy, it had to be around a very particular expense framework to make sense. Thankfully, we found that and we did it, but you want to make sure you're evaluating these things very carefully so you're not financially worse off with what your decision was. 5, handling new construction, right? Again, very easy to go to a builder, not have an agent involved. Sometimes they can woo you in with lower expenses. You can get in the buzz. This is new. Then there's some urgency. There's always another buyer looking at a certain property. There's always a risk. They give great incentives, whether it's through a mortgage setup or design center credit or money off the overall price of a home. Be very mindful to not get caught up in the buzz and the urgency of that and not consider the other things that are important for you. I see a lot of people and meet a lot of people that buy into communities that didn't think about these things because it was more important of getting the deal through the builder and the house that they loved the look of the house versus considering the community, the drive time, the accessibility to amenities, and so forth. Make sure you're reviewing new sale rates versus resale rates. How easy is it to sell in that area as an owner versus what the builder might be experiencing, right? You might hear of a month-to-month inventory rates, and they say, oh, well, the inventory rate is in the low 2 months. And that would mean if everything that comes on the market, it would take that much time to sell everything if nothing else came on. Just this week, for a whole community with builders and resale, that timeline was about 2 months, right? Of if everything had 2 months to sell, it would go. For resale, it was like 12 months. So there was a drastic difference in the selling ability of a new home versus a resale home. And you're gonna want to know that before buying into that community. Also, don't skip on inspections with new construction. I don't recommend skipping inspections on anything, but more importantly, never on new construction. You're getting a new home. You should make sure you check all the condition of it so it is as new as you can get it. I hear so many horror stories about people that buy homes that are new that don't do inspections. Please, please, please make sure you do. And lastly, with new construction, if you do go down that path and you feel good with the community, the location, the plan, the price, be as critical as you can on your lot location. Lots in certain communities can make a huge difference in its resale ability. Always be considering the exit plan. How easy is it to get out of this property versus just get into it? If you're buying something and you've got an open field in the back, what's going on the open field? Is it protected? Is there development coming? It can completely change the whole experience of the house that you buy for what you're going to potentially try and resell later. Now, those are 5 things to consider with avoiding costly mistakes. There's obviously more tips. More importantly, if you have an experience coming in your way and you're thinking about moving to an area, whether it's Dallas or anywhere around the country, reach out, let me know. I've got some great tips and things to talk to you about, and I can probably connect you with that great real estate professional in your area as well. Head to leecalverttx.com, message me there, would love to connect. Thanks for watching.